mentor. His name was Edward Henderson. I don't think anybody remembers him, or or he doesn't live around here anymore. He's the reason I went into oncology, and he also had deranged his mind by drink and fantasies and etc., etc. And I wrote this about him. Honor a man not for his possessions, honor him for the right use he makes of them. The Talmud. To Edward Henderson and Allen Ginsberg. Portraits of burned out geniuses, the best minds of my generation sat transfixed, face forced till the pages were filled and off the printer, but now tell tales of great minds and blank pages, laid wasted by an institute. But it was not electric shocks or insolent madness, not the schizoid split when ends cannot meet, but the gift of too much power and the abuse of too little perspective. And I have seen the best minds laid waste to the howling of ward secretaries, crying for one more signature as the shift changes and the pad stamp has finally run dry. And when the creative impulse is done in, you can always review the work of others, cryptic letters to the editor, attempting to bring Sisyphus finally to the top. And then there were always the enemies. That could be counted around corners, shadowy obsessions of what was being done too, rather than just doing, can eat time quicker than morphine. Because ultimately it is always the perception and rarely the substance. And in the end, when the perception and the substance were both all anger and gray hairs flicking at a temple, the endless reviews of what may have and might have been, one more glass of wine before dinner, one more pointless story to no end, an automobile abruptly stopped in a dark urban park, the middle of the night with plenty of gas but no get up and go. And so a few choices left, you listen, but behind the boredom is always the tears. It is just the round world. Scarcity is the reality. Only so much time and energy, anger, ash, and tears. And despite what a great man once said, you cannot substitute one for another. We are blind and live our blind lives out in blindness. I wrote this next poem about 40 years ago when I first moved to Buffalo. And at times of unusual calm, even though the chair rocks with a perfectly peaceful rhythm, through a slowly filtered sunset, you are afraid it will all be taken from you, forgetting that all is just a window, a chair, and the sky, and of course your love, which can never be taken. Another poem I wrote when we first got to Buffalo. 3 poems about you. These stunningly beautiful women seem not as real as you do on the fight and fright of our love. 2. The day has cleared, the clouds have been shoved away, but still under a sun, we had a conversation that maybe we ought not to have had, even on a rainy day. 3. These interruptions on a regularly planned schedule seem not as so catastrophic as life would be without you. I wrote this poem about my daughter. And the littlest magic, the greatest laughter are in our eyes after you have played the biggest joke in the world just by standing up and falling down. Your open mouth wide, revealing the only 2 teeth God has given you. The mirth is endless as your eyes sparkle to the sky over your forever kingdom. No crack too little to explore, and no object gleams without fascination. You are 1 year, 12 months, who misses not a thing because you are this close to the it that is everything. And that can never be taken from you, and you can never be taken from me. So laugh, light the world with your sparkle, and may you always get up, fall down, go boom, and laugh at the world. Sure-footed, he threw the line, cast into the surf, and these collapsed, following the sinker into the wave. Managed to land right side up on his rear, and still, at first, looked about who could see his frail descent into age, and the trousers 4 sizes and 20 years ago, dripping, shirt sleeves clinging, through again, and with miles of sand balanced around him, danced like a tightrope walker whose net is the sea. This must have been written about another time after we picked up. She wants to run away. You merely want to leave. The kids will take care of themselves one way or another. They have learned to open the refrigerator door and turn on the gas. The combination may prove interesting. My hands have no veins either. They were the last to go. The last big haul before the train line ran out, broken up, reorganized, its chief officers in jail, the bankruptcy poisoned by corruption. The railroad is memories now, just empty tracks scarred, rusting under the sun. Weeds starting to grow through, no locomotives here anymore. Just empty boxcars dreaming of heavy freight. Thank you for the empty freight. Pictures of the wise silence. I am searching for the wise silence, but the cacophony of voices rises past my ears. I am searching for the wise silence, eyes closed only to the darkness. I am searching for the wise silence, hearing echoes that can be ciphered in black and white. I am searching for the wise silence in increasingly noisy waters. And yes, I am searching for the wise silence in silence. Okay, we're now going to try to uplift the day by reading some Jonah poems. We don't want to leave too happy, right? Okay. Well, I'll read this other poem first. Then we'll go into the happy poems. Yes, my hair and arms are growing thin. Attenuation, documentation of the process we call disease, or maybe just growing old. For the lucky few among us. Maybe the Germans knew shaving the head. Maybe the Jews knew don't cut the hair until the age of 3. Maybe the hair knew, but it is long gone. The Jonah poems. I'll read a smattering of these. Winter came screaming to a halt this year here in northern latitudes by inland Iceland Sea. Jonah Benjamin's head emerged, seed to fruition at the end of January. The ground was still hard, the light had just faded, but his cry promised the warmth of the sun, early eclipse home. And after 21 inches and 7 pounds and sun was out, the cord was clamped and our hopes released. For many years and leaves to follow, and branches to be many, and now our roots are 4. Zale, Barbara, Rachel, and Jonah. That was before Ezra. And may there never be an after Ezra, for me anyway. The death. Once I had 3 children, now I have 2. How to tell an uplifting tale about grief? Once I had 3 children, now I have 2. We didn't want this son to be too happy. After the crash, I took my son Ezra from the vehicle. I gently placed him on the side of the road. His stomach hurt. He couldn't breathe. He was scared. He was dying. He saw his brother